the lady that we're bringing next is everything, literally. Catch her on TV, catch her on radio. She's globe-trotting all over the world. Her name is Thando Thabethe. Absolutely amazing, very, very humble. And she's here to just share her journey, share her lessons, share what she knows, and of course to answer some of your questions. So the questions are around what drives her, the questions are around money and so forth. So are you guys ready for her? Are you guys ready for her? You ready? You ready? All right, let's give it up for Thando. 3, 2, 1. Thando, 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 Thando.
Hello. Can I sit?
You can have a seat.
Hi, everyone.
Thando, I was telling you earlier on, Krisha go the mob justice.
Why? Wenzeni? Sing la. The shirt looks just fine to me.
No. Sing is lungisile man.
Oh, une eye no hama nge
Ngizwile ukuthi khona ngathi yes. Mina ngibe handsome ngibe right. Thando, thank you so much for coming to Youth Money Circle.
Thank you for having me.
As you can see, lots and lots of fans. These are young people, high school students, some are older, some are entrepreneurs, and a lot of them listen to your show. A lot of them follow you, follow your journey. A lot of them want to know more about you, but most importantly, the role that money plays. So that's what the conversation is all about. But before we get into that, we're going to do a young random 5. Because you got 5 of them. Makes sense, random 5.
Naturally.
So 5 random questions that other people wouldn't ask you, but me, I'm so booze.
Okay.
Are you ready for my 5 questions?
No, but okay.
All right, so what is your favorite emoji?
Probably the heart emoji, the heart face emoji.
You know, it's raining.
No, because I live up to my name. I'm all about love.
Oh, okay. What fruit best describes your personality? Fruit, yeah.
What's that emoji that you guys use for like a palm? What is it? It's a peach.
I mean, listen. When was the last time you cried? Like ugly cry and then a winning cry, so both.
Oh, I cry all the time. I'm actually a crier, hey? Like, sure, maybe a week ago?
For real?
Yeah, like an ugly cry, like a week. No, a week ago I was on holiday, so that's not. So maybe the week before that.
ugly cry, you let it all out.
I let it all out.
All right, cool stuff. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I had eggs. I had scrambled eggs and bacon and mushrooms.
Okay, so it was delicious. Very delicious. All right, cool stuff. When last did you Google yourself? And why were you Googling yourself? Yeah.
Well, you Google yourself because you want to know what's out there about you. It's very important. I think every business does it. They Google the business to find out what the word is out there. And there's a negative narrative around people who Google themselves. You must Google yourself because you're a business. You must know what's out there. I think the last time was maybe 3 days ago.
So recent?
Yeah.
And what did you find? What were they saying?
Nothing I want to talk about.
Okay. So it was good things, though, nothing bad.
Well, no, nothing bad. Nothing bad.
All right, cool stuff, guys. So if you guys have any questions for her around money, around her business, around what drives her, because she's in the unique position where she does a lot of things and she's really, really good at them. Because some people are on radio, but TV, get better, you know? Or you're on radio, now you want to be a soccer player, get better. You know, so she's one of the unique people who has able to master all these different crafts. So Thando, the last 7 months have been amazing for you. How would you sum it up in one word?
Sure. I think one word.
Just one. Just one.
Fruitful. Fruitful. I you were talking about fruits earlier. I got fruits on my mind. Fruitful. I think I put in the work and then I got to bear some of the fruit in the last 7 months.
And I mean, talking about putting in the work, you made it onto Forbes Africa 30 under 30 list. You were on the covers of Bona, of GQ, of Forbes. You were a lead in a movie, which is really, really cool. You've just had 1 million Twitter followers. And then we saw you globe-trotting, showing us elbows there, you know, having a great holiday. of all the amazing things you've done, which one for you has been the standout?
Sure, there's so many. I have a very hard time in like stopping and like acknowledging things and taking it in. But I think the Forbes thing was really cool, especially because I'm 29. So like this was my last chance. It was like now or never. So I think that was really cool to happen this year.
All right, so I want to take it back to high school because we've got a number of high school learners. You went to Mondio, right? What kind of students were you? Because in my mind, not Bokang. Like I don't know what's telling me Bokang.
No, not even.
What kind of student were you?
I think I found a middle ground. So I'm not gonna lie and say I was a goody two shoe, right? So I got naughty, but I knew when to rake it in.
Okay.
So I'd have my peers who take it all the way, but I'd know when to be like, hey.
Were you a prefect?
Yes, I was a
I
prefect.
see.
But I mean, if you look at my group of friends, I had different group of friends. You know how in school there's like cliques that hang around. I'd first break, I'd hang out with this clique. At second break, I'd hang out with that clique. So I'd have like the very very naughty group of friends, and then there'd be the very academic group of friends. So I managed to find a balance that worked for me.
When I was in high school, I wanted to be a lot of different things. I was never really sure. When you were in high school, were you sure that this is what I want to be, and you could see it happening?
Yeah.
'Cause I know we've got a lot of students here, and irrespective of where you are, as a student, you might be saying, okay, or my situation is X, but I really want to be a doctor and whatever. Did you have the vision? And then what kept you onto that vision?
Yeah, I had the vision. I knew what I wanted to be, for sure, in high school, by the time I was in high school. What kept me on the vision, I did all the things I wanted to do in high school. So, I wanted to act, so I was part of the drama club. I wanted to talk, so I did public speaking. I did all of that stuff throughout high school, because I wouldn't say it's because I necessarily knew it's what I wanted to do. I did know, but I did those things because I loved them at the time. Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of research. I don't want to say stalk, but I've been doing a lot of research on you.
Google.
And one of the things I've picked up is there are very few instances where things landed in your lap. It was always you had to chase things. So even now when you talk about high school, you were like, I always wanted to act and I got into acting. It's not like acting fell on your lap. What do we say to young people now who are expecting things to just magically happen? Because to go out and to get onto a UJFM, to get onto a YFM, it doesn't just happen overnight. So what do we say to the current generation to drive them to be able to go to those opportunities?
I think it's tricky now because we live in a time where everything is it happens instantly, right? Like if you want to make a phone call, if you want to Google something, everything is instantaneous. So you expect the same to apply in your life, and that's not at all how life works. You sort of have to put in the work, and DMing a Thando is not necessarily the work, because I think it's a case of understanding that nobody owes you anything, and that at the end of the day, it's up to you to make whatever it is that you want to happen, and that nobody's going to do it for you, and it's not going to happen overnight either.
Nizwile, you guys heard that. It's not going to happen overnight, and you need to chase it yourself. It's very, very important. So, UJFM, YFM. A lot of people don't know at UJ, you were first a newsreader. But like, why UJFM news, da da da. And then now all of a sudden, you made the move onto Y. Do you remember what you did with your first salary? Like your first
and
real
why?
salary. Wherever, your first real salary.
First ever salary.
First ever real. I'm not talking about.
Oh, I bought creatives. There were sneakers called creatives. I know you guys wouldn't remember them. Some of you. There was. Do you remember?
I remember them.
Creatives.
So you bought those sneakers.
I bought myself a pair of creatives. I landed an ad, I think, and back then they'd write you a check, like a physical check, and
wow.
yeah. And I cashed the check and I bought myself a pair of sneakers with my first ever paycheck. That's how little it was. All it could give me was some sneakers.
So, I mean, you're in the entertainment industry, and earlier on I mentioned the number of things that you're doing. It's a lot of things. One of the things is the business that you have. Can you tell us a little bit about it and just the challenges of running a business? Because it's not easy. Like on the back end, there's a lot going on. So what is your business, and what are some of the lessons you've learned from running that business?
So I run a business called Redwood Media. You guys know Tabooties. Tabooties is a subsidiary of Redwood Media. But other than Tabooties, I have a PR company. We did the PR for Love Lives Here, the feature film that I did this year. I associate produced that as well. The challenges are a lot of the time you go in not quite knowing what you're doing. Like, I think we have this mind that business people like have it all figured out, and they walk in with their laptops and they know exactly what they're doing. And half the time I realize that we're all pretending to know what we're doing half the time. And as long as you're pretending until you figure it out is all that matters. And I mean, if I speak to Tabooties, for example, I had no idea what goes into selling underwear and shapewear and figuring out not just sizes. And people are like, I don't manufacture from scratch, we buy from China, but then there's sizing differences from South African sizes because we a little bit bigger than the Chinese market. So then you have to look at converting sizes from there to here. So the smallest of details that we sort of overlook when we walk into any shop and buy something as simple as a panty. We don't know what's gone into finishing that product.
So we've gone from you being in high school to you working to your first salary to where you are now. What role has money played? Because obviously at some point in time there was no money, and then there was very little money, and then now there's a hell of a lot of money. You know what I mean? So take us through the journey from when you didn't have money. And I know celebrities don't really talk about that, but I really wanna get a sense of the role that money has played then and now.
I think money is incredible. I'm not gonna lie, money is very nice, and you only really know how nice money is when you come from a place of not having money, right? So to give you an example, my mother, when I was in varsity, I studied at BCom accounting at UJ. She basically took an early retirement to get me through varsity. And then I joined UJFM, got a job at YFM, and my job at YFM wasn't really paying. They paid me like a 2,500 rand, if I remember properly. I didn't have a car, so my mom would sleep at YFM in the parking lot waiting for me to finish my graveyard show. When I eventually did 3 to 6, I would go to work, catch a taxi on Jan Smuts right here at 6 o'clock in the morning. At the time, I was shooting My Perfect Family, the sitcom. So I'd catch another taxi from Jan Smuts to Auckland Park or Mill Park to go and shoot. Sure. It was exhausting. Something as small as being able to jump into your car to go from point A to B, that will help with just your comfort, your exhaustion, just accessibility from point A to B is the little things that money can afford you. There was a time I was working 4 jobs. It's just the tiniest of things, and you see how it not only just affects you, but it affects the people around you who believe in your vision. And I'm very fortunate that I have people around me who believed in my vision. My brother, I was basically squatting in his house. There was a point where I've walked from like UJ to Noord. There's people see the end results. They don't see what's gone into it before. I mean, I remember being at varsity, a friend of mine, Tumelo, we'd have literally no money. We'd have 6 rand for food, and we'd buy like slap chips, and that's all. And then there are times I'd have auditions, and I wouldn't have money for auditions. I'd have a full face beat, be like, I've got an audition today. And he'd look at me like I'm crazy because I had been to 50 other auditions before that and didn't get the job. But he'd keep giving me 5 rands to catch that taxi to go to that audition. And just being able to now climb into my car and go to an audition or go to work is a luxury.
Oh man, thank you for sharing that, because it comes from a deep place. Yeah. I can see it in your eyes. It comes from a very deep place, because I think very often fans or people, they love to know about where you are now, what are you doing now, but there's a complete story and chapters before that. And during those 6 rand times, and walking to North, I'm sure what kept you driving? Like what drove you? What kept you moving at that time?
I really think back and I think, what a crazy girl. Like, I was like, what a crazy girl. I was relentless. I was resilient. I knew what my path was. I knew what my dream was. I knew what my purpose was. And I was relentless, unforgiving about it.
Guys, it's interesting. Throughout this day, vision and purpose keeps coming up. Like it keeps coming up like vision and purpose. And it's almost like I told the speakers, vision. It just keeps popping up. But it tells you that in life and in money, vision and purpose is very, very important. Very, very important. So if you guys do have questions, book. Otherwise, I'm going with the book. Already got a question. Yes, young chap. What's your question?
Hello, Thando.
Hi.
Okay, my question is about the media industry and stuff. So I like to ask if maybe you're a student and you want to be on TV and all that stuff, your parents, they keep on telling you that go get a real job, you can't be on TV, you gotta do maybe all these professions. So personally from you, I want to ask if, do you just go like straight go to the varsity and do the media, or maybe you gotta do a certain career before and then you go chase your dream?
Okay, so I studied a BCom accounting at UJ, like I mentioned earlier. Not because I was forced, not because my mother was like, you need to get a real job. I chose the degree that I studied. I always say universities are great institutions for networking, right? Number one. So I think we so drill in our minds that, oh, you must study this or study that. But you are now exposed to young people who will become the leaders of the future. I went to UJ with all of your faves were at UJ.
Name drop.
Bonang went to UJ, Euphonic went to UJ. I met PH while I was at UJ. Lloyd was at UJ. Hulisane Ravele was at UJ. This is top of my mind, but even people you don't necessarily know who are now the big guys went to UJ, studying completely different things perhaps to what they're doing today. But the whole point is it's a great place to network. School is what you make of, right? So it's like now when you're in high school. If you decide to go to school and then you go home, that's it. That's what you decide to do. Or you could go to school and do all the extramurals that you feel you're good at and really hone your craft. Same applies to university. You get to network and you get to mingle with what will become tomorrow's leaders and tomorrow's thought leaders or tomorrow's, CEOs, the guy who might hire you or who you might hire, you might go to school with. So I know that I can't say I know the struggle of your parents saying, study this, or because I didn't go through that, so I can't advise you in that regard. But I know that I studied something completely different from what I do today, and it's helped me a lot. I'm able to better manage my money because I have an accounting degree.
Cool. Any other questions? Or can we start down here first?
This book is moving. Does it have a destination?
Hello. So my question is around generating multiple sources of income. Like you do so much all at once.
Yeah.
How do you then do what you love, and it's a whole bunch of different things, and generate sustainable income from that?
Okay, so this has been me all my life. Like people are like, oh my gosh, you do so many things. This has been me all my life. So like I said, in high school, I did public speaking, I did drama, I did tennis, I did netball, I did cross country, I did, name it, I did it. That's just always been me. I sort of go crazy when I'm not doing anything. So it's not a case of I don't know what. And generally, I follow what I love. I don't follow money. Follow what I love. Money tends to follow. That's just generally how life works. Sorry, what was the second part of your question? No, but there were two parts to it.
How do you sustain it? How do you keep it?
How do I sustain it? So I'm very fortunate that I have a great team around me, because obviously I'm one me, and I always say, oh my gosh, I wish I could replicate myself, but I can't. But I'm fortunate that I have lots of people around me who assist in whatever my goals and dreams are, or just helping in, the everyday things that need to sort of be handled that I can't always be there for. It is tiring, but I mean, you live once. I'm also young. Like,
Let's live a little bit.
live. Also, it's easy when you love what you do.
I wanna continue on that tangent. Obviously, you're doing a lot of different jobs and stuff, and different career paths, if you wanna call it that. But a lot of them are very short term. So radio is short term. TV, well, you've been lucky, but other people, you say one thing and it's katulo. But let me get back into it. Let me get back into what I want to say. A lot of it is very short term. Hence, there's been such a huge turnover of people coming into the industry and out of the industry. So whether it's people that will act and then all of a sudden they disappear, or they release this hit song and then the hit song is no longer a hit and they're out, and whatever the case may be. How are you preparing? Because we don't know if Thando Thabethe is gonna last forever on 5, or are you gonna do movies forever? How are you preparing? Or are you like, I'm going with faith and I know every day I'll be doing this? How are you preparing yourself?
I think it's the idea of never being satisfied. So for me, I'm always thinking of the next, and it goes to me not being able to celebrate the now, because I'm always thinking about what's next. And I think we're also so obsessed with the idea of what's hot and what's not. The reason I say radio is probably the most sustainable of all of our entertainment industries. Sorry. I mean, generally, I mean, you look at the guys on radio, like you generally have a very long career path, generally, if in comparison to any other work form. But I think it also comes with ownership. We're fortunate we live in a digital age where you can create your own content, right? So it's owning your own stuff now, and we're moving in that direction of what am I creating? I have a whole business that I run that people don't necessarily know about, that happens behind the scenes. I have my underrange, shapewear range, which I see going further. So if you're speaking in terms of money, got that handled.
Yeah,
But in terms of career in this industry, I think it's not restricting your mind as to what the possibilities are. I think sometimes we look at our faves and see, ooh, is this where it ends? And it's about thinking bigger and better than that.
Bigger and better than that. Right, cool stuff. I'm with you. So I think it does make sense that you're building things that will almost outlive you.
Absolutely.
Which
That's
is
the
amazing.
idea.
Which is fantastic. So I want to talk about some of your money mistakes and some of your money successes. I know you put money in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin
How do you know that?
No, I said I was doing research.
So the mistake I made with the Bitcoin is that I took it out too soon.
You took it out too soon.
I took it out too soon. I should have left it.
Any other
I
mistakes? that you made?
panicked. Any other mistakes? I'm generally very, what's the word? Cautious and conservative about my money. I'm not a crazy spender at all by any means. Also, we have this thing called black tax, right? That has us. And we are happy for it. We are better for it. But it's there and it's painful. But yeah, I've made many money mistakes. Bitcoin being one of them. But generally, I'd like to think I'm very conservative about my money.
Conservative with money. And how are you investing? I know you're currently doing some sort of construction. I don't know if it's where you live or it's somebody else's place, but I know you're doing a little bit of that. Is that rental or is that your own place? Like,
No, that's
where you
just
putting
my
your money?
house. This is my
Oh,
house.
you're upgrading.
I'm just fixing my house.
Okay. And you're not investing in any way?
I am absolutely investing. I had some guys, I don't know if you guys have heard of, what's it called? It's a company, it's a new company. So what they try to do is help young people. You know how the stock market is always something that seems very daunting to us young people, and they say all these terrible numbers. I forget their names now.
So what easy equities?
Easy equities.
Ooh,
thank
they come
you.
up again.
So what Easy Equities, I've had them on my radio show quite a couple of times, and I think it's where you heard the Bitcoin conversation. And it's basically about investing in all the markets or in even brands that you use on the daily and things that you personally like. And I think for the longest of time, I mean, if you listen to Bruce Whitfield on 702, it's the most daunting conversations where you're like, what on earth are they talking about? What are they saying? And what Easy Equities has managed to do is speak about it on a level that young
sense,
people can understand as well. But for me, I know that's a Capitec event, so I shall not mention the other bank, but I invest my money with that bank.
All right, cool stuff. While I was doing my research, I'm trying to run away from stalking, so I went through your timeline and I found this very interesting tweet. And it's a pity a lot of young people didn't reply to the tweet. You tweeted, "What will your life story be?" And you tweeted and you didn't reply. You let other people say everything. What's your response to your own tweet? What will your life story be?
That she lived. I think a lot of the time we're so afraid to just live. And by just live, I mean live out our absolute full potential, because we're afraid we're not good enough. We're afraid we're going to fail. Maybe we're just simply too lazy. Maybe we think it's for everybody else. It's for the Thandos of life. It's not for me. I'm not meant for that greatness. And I want to, when I die, I want them to say, yes, sis, but that girl lived. But that girl worked. I'm very hardworking, and I want to be known for that. I want to be known for everything that I put into my work, and for being a dreamer, and for going where others were too afraid to go.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. So I'm going to be opening up to the floor, and then we're going to shut things down. Maybe 3 questions, 2, 3. Cool, Prince?
So Thando, for me, it's always easy to sell a product. You know how much the product costs, you sell it at a higher price.
Yeah.
But for you've got a personal brand, you've got a corporate brand. How do you define your rate in relation to the value you add whenever somebody approaches you?
You mean as my personal brand?
Yes.
Like if someone wants to book me, for example?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I technically don't do that myself. But you sort of look at the market and what everybody else is sort of charging. So you do your research. You see what your peers are charging. And then there's times where you sort of feel like, I think I'm worth a little bit more than that. And I think we've come to a time now where I'm very fortunate I'm able to say no. And I think it's important that everybody else is also able to say no, because I think our industry doesn't see progress, because a lot of the time people say yes to anything and everything that comes. But it's hard to say no when you need the money. But at the same time, it's finding the balance of, I can't be paid at 2,000 when I know I'm worth a 5,000. So it's realizing your own value and your own worth.
Cool. Anybody else? All right, cool stuff. So we're going to take 2 more now.
Sabona Thando.
Yebo sawubona.
Bengicela ukubuza, angithi you are like a fashion, like if you are uthanda fashion. So I want to know ukuthi, how do you balance sebenza imali yakho, because obviously your image yakho mele wonke umuntu akubone ukuthi uthando. So balance kanjani?
It's a valid question though. Yeah, because men are balance.
I also want to know ukuthi, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
So how do I make sure I don't spend too much money on clothes? Yeah. See, that's very easy for me, funny enough, right? I actually don't enjoy shopping.
Really?
No. So I don't like, I like clothes.
But you don't like the process
But I don't like
shopping.
the process of shopping.
So what do you do then?
I hire someone.
To go and buy the clothes? Whoa, okay. So, are you on another level? Hi. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. I want to understand. So I get to the store, and then what? I video call you, and I'm like,
no, you don't video call me.
What do I do? Do I take a picture?
No, you take what you need to take. And
with the hope that you'll like it.
Yeah, well, whatever I don't like, you take back.
Hey. But you know what? You're at that level, so it's alright.
Well,
Okay,
I mean...
okay. No, for me, I'm impressed. Because I'm like,
Guys,
wow.
So anyway, to answer your question, I'm lucky that I don't enjoy shopping. So I don't go to shopping malls because I don't like malls, period. So I save money in that regard. But when I do shop, I shop. You know, shop. But I mean, it's not exorbitant. It's not a lot.
What's not a lot?
Come on.
Can you give me a ball figure? Okay, the one time where you spend too much and you're like, Yeah, there's a moment. I see there's a moment. You don't want to share the moment. I see there's a moment.
No, I don't wanna scare you.
No, scare me.
No, I don't
Me, I
scare
don't know
you.
about others. Me, I want to be scared. Me.
No, I mean, people's pockets are not the same, right? So, for example, what's expensive to me?
Guys, do we understand that her pocket is different? Oh, Georgie. Georgie.
I'm just saying.
It was a big
I'm
amount.
just saying that what's expensive to you might be expensive to me.
Okay, was it close to 50?
What am I buying?
I don't know what you were. I wasn't at the store with you.
I mean, it depends what I'm buying.
So it depends more on what you're buying.
Yeah, what am I buying? What am I buying?
Clothes,
Shoes.
shoes.
Makeup.
Makeup. Bags. Bags.
Bags are the problem.
Yeah, bags.
So we must keep bags away from you.
Bags are a problem. I spent, the most I spent on a bag, like a handbag,
Yeah.
like 120,000.
Cheers! Gossip.
It's terrible, but.
Okay, what's the but?
But in my defense,
Okay, no, let's give it a chance.
Hear me,
Let's
hear
give
me
it a
out.
chance. Let's give it a chance.
I see the bag, I see the price tag, I say I'll be back,
And then,
and then I come back.
aha.
Also, it happens once in a while, you see?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have another question?
Yes. Hey, Thando.
Hello.
I wanna ask. Like, I'm a huge fan of yours.
Thank you.
As a celebrity, right? Like, you guys travel a lot, and I'm so captivated about that. I was like, okay. So how do you guys manage, like, with all the work? Like, you have to travel, like, from Italy to Europe, from Europe to come here back to South Africa. Like, how do you guys manage with that? It's a lot of work on the plate. Like, right now, Boy T, she's in, I don't know where, but on Instagram, she's somewhere out there living the life.
I think she's in France, I think.
Yes, she's there. So, like, I want to know, as a celebrity, like, how do you deal with all the criticism and all the bad, advices from other people and all that stuff?
Okay, you asked a few questions. Let me touch on the travel. Travel is the greatest gift. I think we don't talk about it enough, especially as black people, right? And I say black people because in my travels, it's very rare that I see black people traveling. So like everywhere I go, I'm the only black person there. That really breaks my heart. And it's not nice. It's not nice to not see black people to a point where when you do see a black person, you and that black person are like, ah! So I think we're not taught how important and how beautiful the gift of travel is. I think if you're going to spend your money on anything, spend it on travel because it opens your mind to so much. I think for me, it teaches me that I'm no one, which I love so much. You travel the world, and as you're on a plane, you're able to see like where in the world you are. And you see, the world map, and you can see that you're literally a speck in the ocean. You're nothing. And sometimes you need that to be reminded that you're absolutely nothing. But more than that, it opens your mind to possibilities that you perhaps would not be aware of at home alone. So when you see Bopoiti and them traveling, it's nice because it opens everyone's mind. So one day when you work, aim to travel and to see the world. Criticism. The more you criticize, the easier it gets, right? So the more mean things people say to you, the easier it gets. Like the first time you hear something mean, you literally want to die. And then second time, you're like, another one. Third time, another one. Block.
So, Thando, I want us to wrap it up. Because I know you've got things to do, girl. Got some handbags to get, girl. All right. We've got a lot of young people here, and this is a room of dreamers, because we've been talking about dreaming, having a vision, having a purpose. How do I get to X to get to Y? What do you say to the dreamers in the room?
I think dreaming, I'm going through a point where I'm dreaming again, right? And it's scary. It's really, really scary. And you fear failing, and you don't know where to begin. Because there was a video I saw on Instagram where this woman is asking, like her friend is like a multi-millionaire or whatever. And she asked her friend, like, how do I become a millionaire? And then the friend says, friend, you just pray to God. God is so amazing. And then And then she goes, yeah, but I've been praying. And then she says, yeah, but you got to go to church every Sunday. You have to repent. It's like, but what do I do? Just open the Bible, girl. It's like, and that's the advice that we get half the time, right? Believe in yourself. Don't stop. But what do I do now? Like, when I stand up from here today, what is it that I do? And I think I obviously can't answer that for everybody here today, but it's in finding out where to begin. And I think a lot of the time we sort of have a bigger idea and a bigger picture of whatever our dream or our goal is, but what is the first step? Let's stop having it be a pie in the sky and start implementing actual plans like any business would do, right? You say, sharp, point one is to, for example, if you want to be an actress, find an agent. How do I find an agent? No, I don't DM Thando because Thando's probably buying handbags, right? So let me rather use that internet to Google agencies in Johannesburg. Google agencies in Johannesburg. Like little steps that way. And again, it goes back to don't expect people to do things for you. And yes, it's okay to ask for help. And sometimes people will be willing to help, but sometimes they won't. And if they're not. They don't have to help you. At the end of the day, it's up to you to make your own dreams come true. And I think a lot of the time as young people, we feel very entitled that, someone has to reach out to us. But your dream is yours and it's up to you to make it happen.
Put so beautifully. Thank you so much, Thando. Thank you. Beautiful.